Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.
All right, well, we don't often open with a guest, but in this case, in this particular instance this week, we will. Yeah, we have two guests. Have we ever had two guests on the show at the exact same time?
This is a first.
Wow. Yeah. Well, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you a self-proclaimed wrestling fanatic couple and the owner and operators of the RumbleRamble.com and Rumble Ramble podcast. Please, let's give a Rap Rankings welcome to my dear close personal friends, Evan and Caitlin.
Oh, thanks for having us, guys.
Hey, guys.
Talking a little pro-graps.
There we go. See, I wanted to find a way to bring you guys onto the show. And I think this is the perfect vehicle for it.
No, it's absolutely perfect. The I can't think of too many times where, like, on a big scale at least, hip hop and professional wrestling have crossed over like this. This feels like an opportunity too good to pass up.
That's right. Listen, we saw the big business that happened this year with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, teaming with Damian Priest against The Miz and John Morrison. That was a huge match. We saw Wale, he rapped Big E. He rapped Big E to the ring.
I'm not booing Wale. I know he's sensitive. This isn't you, Wale, that I'm booing. It's the idea of you appearing and shouting out. I'm getting carried away. I'm not supposed to start beefs. This isn't a shoot.
I was going to say, what's the heat with Wale?
Well, I'll tell you this, Evan. In the hip hop world, people unjustly hate Wale. It's this whole thing.
I know
I don't even know how to really explain it.
I know Wale is controversial. I know he likes to let. There was something with like a magazine guy one time. I remember, like it was was
might
it Complex?
Have been the thing with Complex.
Yeah. So hey, man, that's very pro wrestling. So shout out Wale.
Shout out to Wale for sure. Shout out to him.
This was an album that early on, hip hop and wrestling didn't really have that much of a relationship going into this album. So it's an interesting, I would say, first stab at that relationship. Of course, hip hop and professional wrestling, not necessarily, bedfellows from the beginning. Professional wrestling has always been more of like a rock-oriented genre. So this was a crossover that I think was needed. And I think the Rumble Ramble coming together with Rap Rankings, perhaps the greatest of all.
There's a lot of R's there, man.
Oh yeah, lots of R's. This is this is definitely gonna be better than the Invasion for sure. We're gonna execute a lot better than
I got a hot take on the Invasion. I think that the Invasion was a lot better than the internet says it is, but that's a podcast for another day.
I'll say this. I enjoyed it, but I will always have the nagging feeling that things could have gone better. But I don't think it sucked. It's just like it left a lot to be desired. That's fair.
It didn't suck is my one, like, I guess that's my hot take, is that it wasn't as bad as...
Because a lot of people think it sucked, and I'm like, no, it didn't suck.
Yeah, there were some good moments there.
Yeah, it was good moments. But, yeah, Moulz, before we completely get carried away, Moulz, should I go through this rating system?
Yeah, why not? We gotta tell our guests what they're going to be doing today and how they're going to be doing it.
Right. We don't want to leave anybody in the dark. All right, so... since this is this is their first time on the show, but I gotta say, they sound familiar. Like,
what do you mean?
I don't know, just like their voices. Like, don't take this the wrong way, Evan, but like, you remind me of like a guy who I don't like. It's like, you ever heard the Usher? You remind me of a girl that you remind me of a guy that I once knew, and he was a bad guy. He's dead, thank God. But anyway.
Are you talking about Goutrode?
Of course I'm talking about Gooch Road.
Evan, first of all, I don't think you sound like Gooch Road, personally. But even if
this
you
isn't
did,
a problem. I can separate the two.
That would be a good thing. Gooch Road's a good guy.
No.
This is quite strange. My father's name was Gooch Road.
What? All right, this is free. No disrespect to your father. Shout out to your father, but it's just
you could say his name. Shout out Gooch Road. Say it. You could say it.
I'm just gonna take a little like Voldemort approach to this.
I understand.
Harry Potter. There we go. Now,
leave me alone. No, listen. I am not a Harry Potter super fan. I don't know why the references flow like water out of me. I don't get it. I'm confused that I reference this franchise, this IP as much as I do for someone who doesn't really interact with it on that level. I don't know.
Oh, dude, I'm a Harry Potter super fan. Okay, so like after this, let's talk about it.
Oh, okay. Listen, we're going to figure this out. Thank you, Caitlin. We're going to figure this out.
Evan, how do you feel about Harry Potter as far as things go?
I'm pretty neutral on it.
Neutral on Potter.
Yeah.
You're not a pothead.
No, I'm not. And I'll say this. I'm a big, like, 3 movies, 4 movies max, and then let's get out of here. And I understand that it was a book franchise first, but you're not going to hold me for 7 movies. Like,
there's 8 movies.
Can't do it.
I think it was 8, yeah, because they split the final one up into 2 parts.
Yeah, so I really like those, like, first 3 movies, and then I'm happy. I can leave.
While I agree with you, I'm personally very excited for Spiral, the Book of Potter.
I don't know what you're referencing, but I'm happy for you.
He's referencing the overly convoluted Saw franchise and how it just won't die. There's a new one with like Chris Rock. It's like called Spiral, the Book of Saw, and it's
what?
That's another franchise that I like. But
I didn't know that. I mean, to be fair, I kind of like stopped watching Saw a long time ago, but
I think a lot of people did. You know,
the first
I will
few,
say
though,
I was officially done with Saw with the 3D joint they put out. Like I like Saw as a franchise, but like that was just all right. I'm finished here. You know,
you need to catch up on your Saw lore before you go see Spiral.
You know, you run out of ideas when you go 3D.
Yeah, you know that is.
I couldn't disagree more. I love 3D.
Well, no, I love 3D, but it's a sign that the studio is running out of ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fertile ground.
Oh,
I've got heat with 3D because I can't wear the glasses because I wear real glasses, and then
me too.
It's difficult
They don't have like adapters.
It's difficult. It's not comfortable.
Perhaps.
Oh, that sucks.
You know, you sit there for 3 hours with the glasses on top of your glasses, then you got a headache, and then
you got a headache. You feel slightly nauseous. It's just, yeah. Evan knows. He knows about that 3D. I love the idea of it. I love 3D itself, but it's a hassle, and it's
everything
a sign
I
that
own
the
is 3-dimensional.
Trying to cash in on the dying breaths of whatever they're trying to hawk on us. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like 3D itself is good, but when it comes at the end of a really long, like established franchise, then I think it's a bad sign.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, I'm in a 3D apartment right now, so I'm down with it. I just I don't know as a movie concept if it's for me.
Okay.
Not until I get that LASIK, and then I'm about to be all about it.
Oh man. Well, listen. Shout out to that LASIK, and shout out to this rating system. I'll go through it real quick. So, the rating system's simple. Each song's rated on a scale of 1 to 10. These numbers do not reflect the quality of a song, as that is indeterminable. Instead, each number reflects a level of enjoyment. In short, here's what each number means. 10 means this is a perfect song to me, one of my favorite songs of all time. 9 means I love it. 8 means I like it a lot. 7 means I like it. 6 means it's I don't dislike it, but I can't say that I like it. 5 means I feel practically nothing about this. 4 means it's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but I dislike it. 3 just means I dislike it. 2 means I hate it. And 1 means I absolutely can't stand it. One of the worst things I've ever heard. Side note, You can add a plus or a minus to those numbers. They have no mathematical or statistical value, but they're just indicators that mean one of two things. One, it's like saying a stronger light version of that number. So if you want to say 7 minus, it's like a light 7. 8 plus, it's like a strong 8. Or it's an indicator that it could go up or down in the future. Like 8 plus, it's like, hey, it could be a 9 minus one day. It could be a 10 one day. Or, an 8 plus could drop to a 6. Like, you never know. So that's it. That's the rating system. So, yeah.
All right, can you run it back one more time, but start with 1?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. All right, I'm good. I got it.
All right.
He was about to do it too. What a friendly man.
No. I always want to be.
Listen, Evan. Don't get too comfortable with this guy. He sets you up into a state of
what?
In a state of comfortability. He makes you. He's like, oh, what a nice guy, and that's when he stabs you in the back.
Well,
these are complete lies.
He showed a lot of patience there, which reminded me of my late father, Guttrode. So I just.
Oh. Well. Rest in peace to him, of course.
Mm-hmm. To him.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
The name it's very triggering for me.
I understand.
It's just I'm sure there are people out here that hear the name Melvin and they're like, oh no, I once knew a man named Melvin and he stole my hat or something. You never know. So
I went on a rant about dudes named Dustin the other day. So
Dustin.
I gotta
say, which Dustin? I know a Dustin Rhodes. He's okay. Do I know any other Dustins?
We're from the South, man. There's like 4 Dustins in every class.
Ah, okay. Word. Okay. Yeah. I think I've known some Dustins growing up.
Yeah.
What about Dunstan? Dunstan checks in, right?
No,
Dunstan?
That's a good movie. But no, Dunstan I have no problem with. It's Dustin, okay? Dustin sucks.
I think we bring Dunstan back. Great film.
It is a great film.
Great ape. He was a great ape, I have to say.
Another reference that I do not get, but I'm glad you guys are having fun.
It's because you had no childhood.
I did not. You're correct.
Oh man, that daggone Michael Jackson. Have you seen my childhood?
Yeah. My father Guttrode was not really big on anything one would consider to be childish. He was very anti-Disney, anti-Nickelodeon. Watched a lot of History Channel documentaries. So.
It's true. Evan is the only person I know that's nostalgic for old airings of Court TV.
Yes. The C-SPAN.
Sounds good to me. Honestly, I will allow nostalgia for anything prior to probably 2001. Anything at all. I think it's reasonable.
That's fair. What about
Mel? What about the Gulf War? I'm like, okay, not everything. You know what I'm saying?
I was literally, as I was saying, what about, trying to think of the worst thing I could think of. Gulf War was good, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, with that out of the way, I suppose we could start giving these ratings now about this first track on this WWF presentation. The Kings by Run-DMC, produced by Jam Master Jay. This is, of course, their take on the D-Generation X theme song. Does anybody want to go first with their rating?
I always like to ask the guests, if you guys want to give your ratings first.
We'll go ladies first. We'll let Kate kick it off. Pre-show stuff from Kate here.
Appreciate that. You know what, guys? I think I have to give this song a 9 because listen.
Listen, I'm sorry. I gotta jump ahead. We're on the same page, Caitlin. 9- for me. Okay. Wow. I love this thing. I'm glad I'm not alone here.
It's a fucking great song, and honestly, the DX, that DX riff is just the greatest thing of all time.
Classic.
DX is my first wrestling love, so
Wow.
nothing can ever top it. But just so you got me with the riff alone, and then you add Run-DMC on top of it, and it's just it's a quality track. It's an excellent song.
Yes.
All right, so we got 2 9s already. We got a.
You better not mess
this
up, Moulz. You know what to do. Give it a 9.
I give the song
9
a
and
flat
up.
8.
Oh,
Flat 8, Mel. I really like it.
but you gave it a 9. We could have had 9s going on here.
I only give 9s to some of the premier songs in hip hop history.
Oh, this is one.
I thought that was 10s. What do you give 10s?
Oh, I'd give nothing gets a 10 from me. I'm so stingy with those.
I mean, I would say the premier songs in hip hop history. Yeah, 9s and 10s. Maybe some very strong 8s could be thought of as premier songs in hip hop history. But yes,
off the top of your head, can you give me another song that you have also given a 9?
Me?
Melvin.
Or Mel? No.
Oh, man. Well, I'll tell you this. There's been a controversy. It's been long running on this show because once upon a time, I've since amended my rating, but I gave a song by Jay-Z featuring a horrible man by the name of R. Kelly a 9-. It's called Guilty Until Proven Innocent. And it was a 9 for me for like 3 seasons. And then eventually I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's an 8+. I like it a lot. I can't love this song from this man who's in jail for doing bad things.
So you think this DX song is up there with that R. Kelly song? I'm just trying to see.
I guess so. You know,
No, you think it's better. Now you think it's better.
Now I think it's better.
Let me put it this way, Evan. This is better than all but 3 Jay-Z songs.
That's what I was trying to get at. Because I feel like 9 was crazy, and I wanted to hear what else was a 9 so that I knew where this stood, you know, in the annals of hip-hop history. Now I know. I'm here now.
What do I give a 9? Jay-Z, I gave, So Ghetto, I think, a 9. I gave 1,000,001 Questions a 9. I gave Can't Knock the Hustle a 9. I can't put this up with those songs. But for a novelty record that I arguably may not have even cared about if I didn't watch wrestling or know who DX was, because I'm not the biggest Run-DMC guy in the world. So if I just heard this record out of context without knowing D-Generation X, how would I feel about it? And I think I would enjoy it. I think I would give it an 8, maybe a 7. But the fact that I know DX, I know their theme, I think this is perhaps my favorite iteration of their theme song, even though this wasn't necessarily 2000 DX wasn't necessarily my favorite iteration of DX.
Right. Okay.
Because it's a real song. So I listen to this, as a real song, because it is. So I'm giving it a flat 8. I think that's a good rating.
It's a good rating.
It's just not a 9, you know?
It's just not a 9.
It's just not a 9. But Evan,
mathematically, that is correct.
Where do you stand on this? I mean, we got 2 9s. We got the Fiend Moulz over here with the 8.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm real glad I didn't go first now, because I feel like this would have went poorly for me, and it still probably will. I'm going to go a light 6.
Wow, traitor.
What?
Get the fuck out of here, you motherfucker!
What is
This is a betrayal. See, this is, I told you, he reminded me of that Gucci. He reminds me of that bad man, okay?
No more, we can't have this anymore. No more low quality guests. I can't do it to myself. He sounds like Gucci. You're right. He sounds, I hear it now, the Weasley voice.
You hear it? You hear it?
I hear it. He sounds like Gucci. You're right.
Can I explain myself, please?
No!
Yes, of course.
Okay. I personally
have bad taste.
I personally don't enjoy D-Generation X. They're just
who
really?
cares?
They're just not for me. So when I hear the song and I think of the jerseys, the DX jerseys with the 69 on it, and just all of the sophomoric humor, and just the fact that Triple H is in DX, and we have a really bad relationship, me and Triple H. He doesn't know this, but we do. And I just, the fact that I gave it a 6 is just like Caitlin said, the bass line, the riff is solid. I'm not going to lie to you. That being said, shout out Jim Johnson. That's him. He did his thing with that.
A legend.
But I mean, it's not, what, I don't know what you want me to say. It's not Ralph though.
Oh, man.
It's not doing anything crazy for me. I don't hate it. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna, if they play this and DX comes out.
Hold on a second. So you don't have nostalgia for this? You don't remember when they had this as their theme for a little while? You don't remember this fondly?
He doesn't like DX though.
That's precisely why it's a 6, because I have too many memories of this.
Dude,
I own like a wrestler, and you can like I don't like, now Caitlin, you're gonna be mad at me. I don't really like Aleister Black, but I think his theme song is amazing.
Aleister Black is my Aleister Black is my current wrestling love, but it's hard because like they've kind of ruined him a little. So
that's the WWE experience.
How could I like him? He's presented as a guy who sits in a room and says weird shit all day.
Yeah,
come on, man. To be fair, that sounds a lot like us, all four of us.
I was gonna say that sounds great.
I'm not gonna lie to you. We must not like ourselves if that's the
But he's got a hell of a theme, I gotta say. So like, I don't care about him, but I like his theme.
Aleister Black must be Sirius Black's like wrestling cousin.
He ain't black, Mel.
Neither is Sirius Black.
And you ain't black.
There's some conspiracy stuff going on here. I'll say this, okay? What was 6 again? Can you read me the definition of what a 6 is?
Yes, a 6 is it's all right. You don't dislike it, but you can't say that you like it.
I don't see what's so offensive about this. I really don't.
It's not offensive.
I'm blown away.
Classic. It's a classic wrestling theme.
No, they used it for like 6 months. I don't know. Come on, man. Like it was
6 months. What is it? The Planet's Champion was like 6 months. That was a great little run.
That's a good point. You got me on that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That 6 months in WWE is a long time.
6 months in WWE is an eternity. Listen, Roman Reigns with this not even 1 year run is already approaching San Martino levels in modern day WWE.
San Martino levels.
That's
really
fair. That's fair. I mean, I can bump it up to a strong 6 if that would make you feel better.
Well, no. This is never about our feelings.
We don't like when you want
honesty.
people to speak their truth,
Yeah,
okay, well, I'm gonna keep it. That's because I love you both. So I'm trying.
Thank you.
I'm trying to be invited back, but I feel like I've next time it's going.
Do you really feel like it's a 5? Do you feel no ways about this?
No, because the riff is too strong for it to be a 5. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll also say, and I don't know if this is cheating. I don't know, if there are rules or if there are no rules. But the music video is, I actually like the music video more than I like the song.
The music video is a treasure.
They played it on this episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, in this episode of SmackDown, we all watched in preparation for this review. Yeah, they show the music video. It's nuts. It's like Triple H and Stephanie McMahon like being high rollers like out in town and like doing stuff that I doubt they would ever actually do.
It kind of looks like it was filmed in the same warehouse that they filmed the classic Raw is War opening. I'm not positive that that's the case. It just looks the same to me. But there's like a 10-second clip with the Hardys doing like Jeff Hardy's doing a swanton off like a balcony. And I don't know why he's there, but it just, I'm happy, so that's probably why it's a 6 for me is that Jeff Hardy cameo in the music video.
Okay, here's my issue with Evan's monologue, okay? He threw in there that the DX jerseys with the 69 on them are trash. I own one of those and wear it all the time. And my man has never said that to my face. So, like...
Wow.
Excuse you.
My God.
Yeah, I kind of forgot she owned one of those. I'm going to be honest with you.
Evan, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure you've once DM'd me a picture of yourself wearing a Triple H jersey, and you said, don't tell anyone about this.
See, I've DM'd you a lot of questionable photographs, and I'm going to need you to stop mentioning those on this podcast for safety reasons.
This man was wearing a gray Triple H jersey, which I recognize because I got it from, like, Wrestling Superstore once in one of their, like, little clearance gimmicks, and I see him wearing it, and I'm thinking, oh, this motherfucker, he must have broken into the crib, he went through some laundry, he's wearing my Triple H shit now.
It was laundry day. I don't know what you want me to say.
I couldn't believe what I saw with my own two eyes.
It's a long sleeve jersey. It was laundry day in the fall, so it was a little chilly. I kind of had to do what I had to do.
That jersey rules, though. That hockey style jersey, it's so good.
It's great.
I'm a fan of the hockey style jerseys. I never got to get one as a kid. I would have loved a lot of wrestling merchandise, but wrestling got me in a lot of trouble as a kid because, you know, this was the Attitude Era. There was a lot of edgy, risque stuff going on that in my 6-7-year-old brain, I didn't even truly understand.
I got to tell you, Mel, not just edgy, but Christian as well.
Yeah, he was also there.
You get in trouble for yelling "suck it" too many times?
Eggs, man. Second grade, we were running around telling each other, "Suck it, suck it." Ha, ha, ha. I sounded like King there. Did you hear that, JR? Suck it. Ha. You know, but we were all doing. We didn't know what we were telling them to suck. It was just it. You know, suck it. We just thought it was afraid we would do the crotch chop.
Oh God, Mel, you literally sent me back in a time warp to French class in 7th grade, and this girl telling me wrestling's fake. None of the moves are real. And I said, "Oh, listen, they're real, okay?" And she said, "Fine, put me in one of the moves, and we'll see."
God.
This girl was flirting with you.
Not this story.
So I said, "All right, let's go." So I think, you know, I have full license to perform a move on this girl. Shout out to Amanda, who allowed me to perform this move on her. And I said, I'm going to do the figure 4. I was a big Jeff Jarrett guy at the time.
Oh, God.
No.
I said, all right, I grabbed her foot. I crossed over. I grabbed her other foot, kind of went down, you know, put my leg over it and got it in. And I locked it in. And she was just staring at me.
Man, did this dude just did this?
She was just staring like...
No selling you. Just no selling.
Like, did this dude just did
Where's
this?
the pain begin? Like, at what... Like, you could lock it in now if you want. I'm like, no, it's locked in.
She straight up no sold you, man.
And that was when I knew for sure, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this shit is beyond fake.
How old were you in this story again?
12 or 13, probably.
There we go.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Oh, well. Sorry you had to find out that way.
I thought the moves were real, but the stories were fake. As a kid.
Some of the moves are real.
Sure. The moves, listen, the hazards are real.
Yeah, you know, it's they try to pull the punches, they protect their fellow worker, but you can't fake falling on the canvas, you know? It's like,
how do you learn how to fall on a ladder, in the words of Jim Ross?
You know? Great question.
Jim Ross asks that every day. How do you learn to fall on a ladder?
You can't fake gravity, folks.
Jim Ross is one of the horniest men in existence.
Oh, he's so bad, dude. I had no idea how bad it was until I saw his Twitter, and then I was like, oh, God, this is...
Yeah.
His wife died.
He can't...
I know, but like, it's like you gotta find a different outlet. You know,
have to. No, I think we as a wrestling community have to humor this. Okay, Grandma died, and Grandpa's getting a little frisky on the internet. He's showing dick print in sweatpants. He's hitting everyone with the. By the way, the hat emoji is iconic now.
It is. It's like the eggplant or the grapefruit, whatever it is. It's up there with that, you know, with the peach. It's like, yeah, the cowboy hat emoji. You know what time it is.
And then you get sent the cowboy hat emoji from someone who isn't in the loop with how wrestling Twitter works, and you're just completely your day's ruined because Grandma wants to send you the cowboy hat emoji because she just watched Toy Story. And now you
Oh, no.
Yeah, so there's some pros and some cons to this.
My question is, JR sees a lot of these girls that he hits on online in person. Is he this overtly sexual in person as well, or just on Twitter?
I would hope not. It's bad enough online, but if he's out here...
We'll know about that in a couple years.
Listen.
Yeah.
JR...
You sick freak!
Okay. You gotta relax, pal. We love you, and we don't want you harassing women out here. It's not.
If
not a good
he
thing.
is, if he's just sending a hat emoji, who cares, really?
Oh no, I don't. It's just the meaning behind the hat, and what does that translate
Right.
to in person?
I don't want it to translate to any. If it's translating to things in person, I'm not for it. I reject my previous statement. I retract it. It's not good. But if it's just doing the hat, but he's being a complete professional
Then yeah.
at work,
It's worth pointing
let him
out
do the
too.
hat.
It's worth pointing out too that this is a guy that actually wears that hat all the time, which makes it when you see him in person, he's got the little smirk on his face. You know, it just.
Oh man.
I didn't mean to ruin this for everybody, but I'm just, you know.
I think just JR just needs one good night at like a strip club or something. Go in there with the hat, you know.
What do you mean one good night? He's had several already.
No, he just to get it all out of his system, you know, just like go in there, you know, they'll rub their chest in his face and he'll probably be like boomer sooner or something, and you know, and and that'll be it. He can.
No, you don't understand, Mel. There's never it with JR. It's gonna keep going.
Oh.
Anna Jay's gonna keep posting pics. Liv Morgan's gonna keep posting pics. You know, he's got to keep
Who
up.
knew that the actual horny man was JR? You know, the way they positioned that commentary duo for years, JR was the straight man, and King was this like horn dog absurd.
They're both
boy.
horny. It's just
I was gonna say,
one of
to
them-
be fair, King, that was still real. You know what I mean?
the King shit was a complete shoot. You know.
You know, quickly in watching that SmackDown episode, I noticed a tick of King's that I never really picked up on. It seems like when he has nothing of value to say, he'll just say, "Look at that."
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm looking. I see it, King. It's right in front of my face. You know, the way Moulz and Mel will sometimes say, "Here's the thing" on this show. It's like it's his filler phrase. Like, look at that. It's like, I mean, we're looking. You know,
He also does this thing where he'll ask the commentator, you know, he's like, "Do you want to have sex with China, JR?"
That's one of my favorite things that King does is he asks JR a question that literally just puts JR in a box where he has no choice but to be like, "I fucking hate you."
He's
Why
like,
are you?
she's a very accomplished young woman who's a great athlete in the World Wrestling Federation.
You can
JR,
hear.
would you want her to be your mamacita?
You can hear JR just shoving down all of the horniness into his body so that he can say something that it sounds somewhat intelligent. But he's struggling in those moments. That's one of my favorite things. There's a clip on the internet of like, it's like from the satellite feed, and it's right before they went on the air, and it's just King for like 2 minutes practicing those noises. Where he's like, "Woo!"
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I'll have to find it and send it to you because it's
Oh my god!
it's a soundbite gold mine because it's just
Yeah, it
for
sounds like we just got our next big slate of drops.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
wow.
He asked Michael Cole, which we'll hear later on, or is it JR? He asked Michael Cole or JR at WrestleMania 2000 when Ice-T is wrapping them to the ring. Godfather and D'Lo Brown. He says something like, "Grab your bitches," and he says, "Grab yours, JR. You got them."
Oh man, I can't remember what he said on the show earlier. Yamaguchi-san said something in Japanese into the camera, and King goes, "What'd he say, JR?" I'm like, "Jay."
Listen, the thing about King is like, you know, like he's maybe not the best guy, but like when he's gone, you miss him. So like, I
used
need
to,
him
as
there.
a kid, for some reason, I used to love him. I used to hate JR.
You hated JR?
As a kid, in real time, watching this shit live, I'm like, "Oh my god," with the Austin. My god, you're so annoying, dude. And King was my favorite. And now going back, I love JR. And I'm like, oh my god, Lawler says like one horribly sexist or racist thing every 5 minutes.
He has a quota to meet, that guy.
Yeah. Jerry really only has two, like he has two gears. He's either like horribly offensive or just like using sound bites. There's really no in between.
Right. He's an onomatopoeia machine.
They could have had an AI plugged in next to Jim Ross, and we could have had the same experience in the 90s had that technology existed.
Well, then we would have never gotten Taz versus Jerry Lawler at SummerSlam.
Taz could have done the job to that AI system.
Oh my God.
You know,
Jerry Lawler now exists as a guy who, for some reason, they'll have him come out and do like the Rumble match or like a random match at WrestleMania. They'll just have him come out and do commentary. And he's right now is my favorite era of Jerry Lawler because they so clearly view him as a liability, but they don't want to have him stop working for them for some reason. So they just bring him in on these little spots and they just pray to God that he doesn't say anything too offensive.
They'll put him on women's matches, which I'm just like,
no.
Bad idea.
Like, what are we doing,
Bad
guys?
idea.
It's like they let him pick which match he could call.
But he has to keep it kind of clean now. So the most he can do is like, you know, Mandy Rose comes out and he's like, oh, I think I'm in love. That's the most he can really get away with
PG
these days.
version of Lawler.
Yeah, he can't do puppies anymore.
Yeah. As
Poor
long
Jerry.
as you dare to just go, ah! Every 5 seconds, I think, you know, like he's Chance the Rapper or something. That works.
That's what people
No,
want
he's-
from him. So, you know.
Yeah. You know, it's not like we expect anything more than that. But just very, very quickly before we get back to, I guess, the Kings, on the subject of commentary, there's a SmackDown game for the PlayStation 2. It's Just Bring It. It was like the debut SmackDown game on the PlayStation 2. And it was the first game in the series to feature commentary. And that was like a big selling point. But the commentary is like, it's god awful. Like, it's Michael Cole and Taz, but there's like, clearly they recorded just like, you know, just disembodied phrases like separately. And the commentary consists of just like them saying random things throughout the match. It's very disorienting. And like, you know, they'll say people's names and like they'll plug it in. It'll be like, you know, The Undertaker has won the match. And it's like, it sounds so robotic. And they don't even like interact with each other. And there's this like Michael Cole will say something that does not warrant the response that I'm about to play. He'll be like it's a capacity crowd here tonight in the arena. And like Taz will just say, that's dumb. That's dumb. And it's like, wait, there's nothing dumb about that. Like, what's going on here? It was a very disconcerting experience playing this as a kid. I could never play it for too long because it made me kind of scared. Like I was losing my mind or something. It's if you've never looked it up, just like go on YouTube, type in WWF Just Bring It for PS2 and just listen to this commentary. Okay. It will slowly drive you crazy. All right. It's not good stuff. But with that said, I say all that to say, I would rather have that than modern day commentary. I hate it. I can't stand it. It makes me depressed. It makes me want to die. Everything about the new product is just bad. And
what a blanket statement. Everything about it is just
clearly not everything. I'm being a hyperbolic. You know, I like The Fiend. I like Asuka. I like Roman Reigns. But what are they? Ultimately, that accounts for like 1% of the company. Everything else is bad. I can't do this anymore. Back to the song. My question to all of you. Do you think The Kings by Run-DMC is as good or better than the original?
Better.
Better, you say?
Yeah.
I think it's as good. The original DX theme is classic to me. I would just as readily listen to that
the original
as this.
DX theme as an actual record. Like something I would play in my free time.
I definitely have done that.
Yeah,
It's
same.
not a song to me. It's a loop.
No.
It's a good loop.
Yeah. There you go.
You know?
Just listen to the
It's a
loop
good
on
loop.
loop. It's good.
Yeah, you know, I'll say, speaking of the loop, the one thing I wish was in this song, you know, because they of course have the riff, you know, It never brings in like the sort of resolution from the original, like when it's like that never comes in, and I keep waiting on it to come in. It doesn't ruin the song, but I miss it, you know. So there's plenty of reason to go and listen to the original. I think this is as good. I wouldn't say better. It's as good. I think the original's a 9.
I'd give the original a 7+.
Oh, man.
It's a good wrestling theme.
You're not a degenerate. Okay, that's your problem. You got to be a degenerate to really understand.
I was an
what's going on
X-Pac guy. I liked X-Pac.
That also would explain the love of the theme, because this theme, when I think of it, I think of the tag team of X-Pac and Road Dogg.
Okay.
So there could be something there with you associating that theme with your love of X-Pac.
Yeah, I'm an X-Pac guy. Road Dogg Jesse James is the Road Dogg Jesse Lame. Mr. Ass is just that. Ass. Okay? I've talked about Triple H. I like him from... I like Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And I like DX Triple H. And I like the game Triple H. When he came back from the quad tear, something happened. They replaced him with a different Triple H. And nothing was the same. Shawn Michaels... He had some great matches when he came back, but he looked like a complete idiot. I like him. My favorite look is like 93 Shawn Michaels, 94, like the mullet, the fucking zebra
That's your
print.
favorite Shawn Michaels?
That's my favorite look.
I agree.
Shawn
I agree
Michaels.
with that. Yeah, that's a fire look.
My favorite Shawn Michaels is 1997 Shawn Michaels, like DX, like screw job, like, you know, that Shawn.
Cutting promos while he's all high, like, man, my dude would show up and cut promos with sunglasses on because he had to. Okay, the lights were bright; it hurt his eyes. But when the bell rang, my guy was there.
He was doing dirty things. One night only with Sonny in his promo, allegedly.
Yes, that is also a thing that allegedly happened.
This man he was the Fiend, honestly. He was the original Fiend. The Fiend is Bray Wyatt.
He's born again. He's learned, you know?
He was dead at that moment. He was dead at that moment.
Come back with like shoulder-length haircut and like some assless chaps, and he's going to come back as like
he should come back as like
Bray.
a Christian cult leader.
Oh, that would be
should
good.
Be his thing.
He's kind of done that, but like he should put a twist on it.
You know?
Tweak it, but I think that's what they're about to do with Aleister Black, kind of.
That's true, yeah. But he fits that really well, too. So, I don't know.
Look, they're good at making weirdo characters in this company. They're bad at utilizing them.
Or at least, like, in the long term, which makes The Undertaker that much more impressive, honestly, as a
right, the fact that he's
story.
arguably the biggest thing to ever be made in this company, and he's... You know, literal dead man. That's his gimmick, you know?
Well, like,
and it works.
Aleister Black debuted in NXT, and I was like, oh shit, like this is the next Undertaker for sure. Like they're so
That's
comparable.
What it felt like.
Yeah, and then he went up to Raw and like, nope. And I don't know what happened. Like it's not like the character wasn't working.
They teamed him up with that idiot, and they put him up on the main roster with that idiot as his tag team partner. And I thought, what the hell is this? What are these guys? What do they have in common? Oh my goodness, I hated it.
Well, you kind of killed the mystique by making him just another dude who's teaming with another dude.
He's friends with this guy that can't cut a promo and claims that he's inspired by The Rock.
Oh, you talking about Ricochet?
Yeah,
Ricochet.
What do these two characters have anything to do with one another?
Listen, that Ricochet.
That Ricochet.
Yeah, when I was initially introduced to him, I'm like, okay, he could be something, but he don't know how to talk.
He spoke of his influence by The Rock. He's like, I'm The Rock. I'm like, you're The Rock? He's like, I'm The Rock.
No, Sandy Cheek's voice. No, you ain't. Okay, no, not The Rock.
The only thing that I liked that they did together, remember that time that Aleister Black cut that killer promo in Dutch and Ricochet was just like, yeah, what he said.
I gotta look that up. That actually sounds entertaining.
Yeah, it was
the best
really
thing Ricochet
really
ever did was steal the Eddie Guerrero chair shot spot.
Oh, when that was good. That was good. That was entertaining.
There was
that's all I want is
there was a
moment, you know.
There was a moment where Ricochet did a dive to the floor, not like in a match, but to like confront someone, and I won't say the person's name, who was on the ramp, and like he did a flip, landed on his.
Oh, I've seen that.
Okay, and he like got in the dude's face, and that was really cool. That was a nice little moment.
The tangerine
it was cool.
cream. I know that guy.
Yes, thank you. That was a really.
Oh, he just got released today, right?
Yeah.
Listen, he's a bad. We know about him. He was doing stuff he shouldn't have been doing. He had to go. You know, Velveteen Dream.
He was pulling some of those Bombada moves, Mel.
Oh,
what a waste
Touching
of potential,
boys.
man.
Seriously.
Yeah.
He was very young too. He had all the time in the world to be great. But
to go back to the original question, the original DX theme versus this DX theme, I feel pretty much the same on them. I might actually give this one the nod though.
Okay.
There's something about the energy on this one that's just
the King of Rock. Who? The King of Rock. What? Yeah.
It felt a little bit more. I like to listen.
The drums, having those live drums in there, and just like amping up the guitar a little bit more, added to it.
And it fit this version of DX because you had X-Pac coming out and he was shaking his hair all crazy. And like, you know, if you had like Rick Rude and Chyna and Shawn Michaels coming down to this, it doesn't fit. But with that version of DX, it fit. And I also think too, I like to think of themes and like, how are they going to sound in the building with like all the people? And there's something about this theme that I think sounds better in an arena with people than the other theme does. Not that the other theme sounds bad in an arena filled with people, but this
this is X-Pac when he's holding the Hanson's energy drink. We got Road Dogg with that bucket hat on.
It
bucket
fits.
Low, like fuck it though.
Now I really just want to see Rick Rude come out to Run DMC, honestly.
That is an image, yes. That challenge my theory that it wouldn't fit. It might work. I don't know.
I think he'd have to dress differently. He'd have to switch it up a little.
That's another thing worth pointing out, I think, is the DX theme debuted in December of 97. So we had heard the original DX theme quite a bit up to this point. And then you're also the McMahon Helmsley thing was going on. So you were hearing like a lot
This
of
was
DX.
McMahon Helmsley. You know what happened? Stephanie got involved. We know she's a hip hop head. You know, she's got
we know
I'm
this.
all grown up. You know? She's a big hip hop head, Stephanie McMahon. We know her husband isn't. And that's what happened. She brought that flavor to DX. She brought the hip hop flavor to DX when she formed the McMahon Helmsley regime and they got DX as a part of it. Oh man, and think about those looks, bro. Tori,
I can what I can tweet and what I can say on the podcast. There are two different things. So I'm gonna be careful, and I'm gonna go back to my point that it was nice to get a mix up after three years of almost 3 years of hearing the DX theme, because I think about the NWO theme and how they used to play that every other segment. And by the time, you know, you got to like 98, you were like, I hate this fucking song. Like, especially when you watch it back on the network, because they cut out Voodoo Child. So when Hogan comes out on the network, he comes out to the NWO theme and not Voodoo Child. So you'll hear that song 4 times watching a Nitro. So I kind of like it for that reason too, that it was like, okay, well, DX is still a thing. Maybe they shouldn't have been. That's an argument for another day. But they're still a thing. We need to refresh them some way. This is a great way to do that while still keeping the identity of what they are. That makes sense.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, I think it's as good. I think what's strange about it though is, and maybe I just picked up on this coming from, you know, having been a rap artist myself, but like they snuck something in here that has like nothing to do with wrestling or DX or anything. But like it's they said my catalog got a long list of hits in the stores, and for you sample happy suckers out there breaking the laws, they'll go, it sounded like they said they'll go hit you when they get you. bring you up on a charge, you'd be better just to let a lawyer know from the start. And I'm like, so in the middle of this like raucous wrestling theme, they start giving out like legal advice to like rappers and producers
on a song that has a sample.
You know, like it's just I pop for that because I'm like, this is insane. Like, good advice, but like this has no business in the song.
They had a message and they wanted to share it.
They wanted to share, you know. I'm glad they did. It's good advice. The chorus too, I had to actually go and look up the lyrics because I didn't know what they were saying. I heard the King of Rock Who, but then they said that be my hobby and job. But I heard it as my hobby and job, and I'm like, what's my hobby in? You know? Like this must be like some thing that I don't know about, but
it's always been gibberish to me, Mel. I was today years old when I found out that they said it's my hobby and job. Okay.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I did not know.
Yeah, I'm like,
wait,
Punjabi prison
give
match?
Me my hobby
like,
and job.
You know? It's just like I don't know what they're talking about. But
can I change my rating to a strong 6 now because I like it be my hobby and job a lot.
Nice.
That's got Twitter bio potential. That's pretty strong.
Perfect. See, this is great. You know, Evan appreciates it. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I got this gene in my body where I respond favorably to like goofy and absurd things. So that was one of those moments where I'm like, hey, yeah, this is only gonna help the song. You know, I think they picked the right group in DMC. They did the right things with the music. They kept all the elements that make the original good, and they somehow turned up the energy even more on it, you know, and it was successful. I will say one last thing about the song for me is, although my rating about the song I mentioned earlier, the R. Kelly and Jay-Z song, has dropped to an 8+. In the song, they said, I gotta come to your rings because I'm so high that even you and R. Kelly believe I can fly. And I'm like, you know, how does R. Kelly keep getting involved in songs that are 9s for me? I don't like this guy. I don't like Robert Kelly. But for some reason, whenever he's mentioned or nearby, it's like songs end up being a 9. It's kind of scary to me. But I can no longer say that because it's not a 9 anymore. So, yeah.
I gotta say that I wish.
Well, if we're talking about that, might be the only R. Kelly song.
That's a 9 to this day because it's one of the few songs of his #1 where he's not talking about sex. I can't.
So we're
listen
not
to him.
reminded of his misdeeds.
Yeah, I can't listen to R. Kelly talk about sex, but I wish. That's a pretty beautiful song.
It's a good song. I like it.
I have no comment on the song. I have a brand to protect, gentlemen.
See, I like to hear that. We got a lot of guests who are real wild boys. So it's nice to have a guest who has their brand in mind. This is a good thing.
Y'all scare me with the R. Kelly talk. Y'all went Jerry the King Lawler jokes, and now we got R. Kelly talk. And I just
we can't avoid it. We're all headed for cancellation.
I'm telling you.
Oh no!
Well,
by the time I log on to Twitter,
we got our new Fed coming out soon.
Yes, we do. What was the name of it?
Problematic Pro Wrestling.
Oh God! Yeah, don't sign me up for that. I don't want.
No, but we just picked up some of the newest releases, so stay tuned to your Twitter feeds.
Oh God! Speaking of cancellation, so in that SmackDown episode, of course, it came with the commercials and some of the stuff they were showing on UPN. Did y'all see that? The commercial for it was the show The Beat, starring like Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
and he's like basically like this raunchy cop that's like having sex with girls and stuff. And I'm like, yo, this show for sure got canceled. Like, there's no way this kept going long after.
WWE was forced to partner with so many weird shows on UPN, like Shasta McNasty, and they like would have to on the air like plug it. And Jerry Lawler talking about, I can't wait to see Shasta McNasty, Cole.
Can we go back to The Beat here for a second? Okay. They ordered 13 episodes. 6 of them aired. To tell you where that show went, it got canceled they filmed these episodes.
Oh man,
it got canceled with stuff in the can ready to air. Which is what's going to happen.
Bad.
Which is what's going to happen to us when we get done with this podcast.
Oh man,
right. We still have like other reviews lined up this season.
Yeah, we're booked like seasons in advance, like ideas that we have. But this R. Kelly talk is gonna get us in trouble. I don't like him. I'm trying to tell the people I don't like the man. I'm just confused as to why his presence seems to, lead to nines.
Do you unequivocally disavow Robert Kelly?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Let me look up the definition of disavow real quick.
I love that Mel's tombstone in the council graveyard is going to say, "I don't like him." That's what it's going to say.
I looked up disavow, deny any responsibility or support for. Yes, I unequivocally disavow R. Kelly. Yes, that is true.
I would like to also attach my name to that statement.
Nice.
If I could. It was worded really well, so I just want to be here.
Okay. Yeah, we that is the official stance on Robert Kelly. Yeah, I want to say about this episode. This was obviously arguably, but I think this isn't a hot take, the prime of the product. This was the era where everyone was in love with this stuff, and I got like really wistful and depressed watching it because I'm like, it'll never be like this again. And I was really enjoying myself, and it was so much in there to enjoy. It's like the crowd back then was popping for any and everything. Like everyone was over. Like no matter their gimmick, no matter what they did, there was love for everyone. Al Snow comes out with Head, they go crazy. Rikishi and Too Cool, they go crazy. No matter who comes out there, they just start going crazy. There was an appreciation for these wrestlers in this product that just, it can never be like that again. The curtain's been pulled back too far. We know too much. It's just,
Not only do people know too much, but I mean, people literally spend their entire day dissecting it online, which
right.
like that,
yeah.
you can only dissect something so much before you're like, wow, this is shit.
Yeah. Okay. So you just said something there, Caitlin, that we've kind of been alluding to across the course of this entire show we do here. And maybe in the series finale, we'll just go ahead and admit it. Who knows? But the more we listen to stuff, we wonder. We wonder. It's like, is this any good? It's not to say it's bad, but it's
not to say it's bad, but. Were the West Texas rednecks onto something? Basically, that's what we're trying to figure out.
I hate rap. I
don't hate this rap though. This is a good one.
No, this is a good rap. This is a 9. I love this rap.
This is what was the R. Kelly song you gave a 9 to?
I wish.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Guilty.
Oh, you're talking about I wish. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wish.
I wish tier level stuff here, according to Mel.
Yeah, basically.
I'll say this about the the hashtag it used to be better stuff. I think that there's some truth to that. I'm someone who is probably I'm definitely more fond of wrestling in today's day and age than most people on Twitter. But there's something about the fact that all of it is so easily accessible, and there's so much of it. Like Harry Potter is great, and it's cool, and there's 8 movies, but there are, just hundreds and hundreds of episodes of Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-views from this era, and it's all, as they continue to move stuff over to the cock, it's all so easily accessible. As a kid who had like 3 VHS tapes that I just wore out because they were the only wrestling that I could watch.
You can absolutely get lost if you do prefer the old stuff. You can get lost in that now better and easier than you could when we were kids, for sure. But there's something missing. If I wasn't
at Blockbuster renting a VHS or catching it on TV, when I was supposed to be asleep, I just wasn't seeing it.
There's just already so much being edited out and songs being replaced and stuff like that, if you're really the true connoisseurs, we want to hear the System of a Down song that, built up the 6-pack challenge at Unforgiven 99. We don't want to hear some stock music.
No, yeah, I agree with that concept. I guess I'm trying to take a glass half full approach and say that as someone who, I mean,
But even that, I mean, if you want to go through unconventional means, you can. I wasn't able to find that version of Unforgiven 99 until the last couple of years because
right.
when it came out on VHS, they had already replaced the music.
Yeah.
It didn't,
so now
it wasn't part of it was only on pay-per-view. So unless you were able to find, a download of the live broadcast of that show, which eventually I did, you were never going to hear that again.
Yeah, and there's something cool to me about having access to so much stuff. And even if you want to hypothetically speaking, if you're talking about wrestling right now, there's no wrestling that comes out right now that I can't watch, whether it's in Japan or Mexico or, it's so accessible. I can watch all of it in real time because everyone is streaming everything live. There's something about that I think is really cool. And I almost feel like we don't appreciate it enough as even if you're a lapsed wrestling fan. There's something about that I find to be somewhat beautiful, if you will. Just the fact that so much old, new, it's all so there and so accessible.
You know what it is for me, though, Evan? To be honest, I'm almost jealous that these things weren't around when hashtag used to be better. Because imagine the early 2000s indie scene with you had all those
Twitch.
guys that would eventually go to the X division in TNA or the cruiserweight division or, Velocity on WWE. But I kind of wish that some of these things were around back then. So, cause now it's I can watch any indie fed in the world, but it's like Dan the Dad's Big Barbecue featuring Danhausen versus a sock puppet.
No, no, I agree with that concept. I think it's dope.
And hey, I'm not knocking people who like that stuff. I see a lot of people, oh, fuck this isn't wrestling, blah, 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 blah. If you like that shit, fine. I'm not saying that stuff doesn't have a place, but it's definitively not for me. I've come to the conclusion that whole scene is not for me, and that the indies essentially passed me by 15 years ago.
Yes, I agree with that. As someone who has been to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of indie shows and put up rings and done all kinds of dumb stuff, it's definitely left me by too. And I think there's just wrestling in general from a today's standpoint has left me by, so much so that they're talking about today SummerSlam possibly being in Vegas at the football stadium, and I'm just cool. It's there's definitely something there that's missing. And I do think, to go back to Caitlin's point, that if you sat around and picked apart wrestling in real time, because people did this, you can go online, if you know how to Google things the right way, and find message boards from 2000 where people are fuck the Undertaker. I wish he would have never came back.
Look, try to find my old posts on the WrestleZone.com forums from 2001. My username was Kurt Angle Slam.
Wow. Listen, I was in the computer lab at school 8, 9 years old. I discovered that 411mania.com. And I'm yo, there's a place on the computer where people are talking about wrestling. This is crazy. This is, they were around back then, but now you got Twitter.
Which is the message board for the entire world.
It's so bad that I haven't watched a wrestling show since WrestleMania, and I am aware of what's going on and why it sucks.
Oh man.
It's I'm just, I'm trying to, look at, I follow a bunch of retro gaming accounts. So I'm I'll log on and see oh, this dude just found this rare game or whatever. And then I scroll down and it's so people are mad about The Fiend, who has also not been on television. I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I believe he hasn't been on TV since WrestleMania. And I'm why? He's not even here. Why are you mad? He's not here, man. I don't know what you want. He's not on TV. Why are you, it just, and as always, the talking points will move. It'll be something really silly. They don't let the guys look in the camera anymore. And then now they look in the camera and people are well, I don't like this. Like we move.
I'll give you a great example, Ev. Who are those guys on NXT that cut promos like 80s wrestlers? What are their names?
I have no idea who you're referring to.
Like one of them has like really wide eyes. It's not the MXP or whatever their names are, MXW. You told me about them though. You were like, they're good. They're like old school.
I'm blanking. I couldn't tell you.
Grizzled Vets, is that it?
Oh yes, Grizzled Young Vets. Okay, yeah.
Grizzled Young Vets. Okay. What is it? GYV.
Right.
So like, or on the indies, there's that Mance Warner guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, this guy's great, or this tag team's great. Reminds us of the 80s, even Revival or FTR, right? Like, oh, these guys are like Arn and Tully, modern day. And you'll get the people who will appreciate these guys because they're like a throwback. And then you've got the people who will say, well, it just seems like they're doing an impression of the stuff from the old days. If I wanted to see that, I'd go back and watch it. So, it's hard. I think this business especially, it's hard to please everybody, especially when you consider, someone like myself, and I don't want to speak for Mel, but I know I will speak for him with this. Like, I don't give a fuck about matches. Like, I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about wrestling. Like, I like characters and stories. So, that'll immediately put you at odds with a large number of wrestling fans.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is it really at the end of the day? It's a soap opera. I'm here for the soap opera. Yeah, like, the athletes, that's an added factor. It's, that's what makes wrestling is that they're doing these athletic moves in the ring, but that's supposed to help tell a story. And if we're just in here fake competing, then there's nothing there for me. There has to be a story involved. There has to be characters and entertainment, personalities and color. And, that's all I want from this stuff.
I will care about matches if I like the character and I like the story that's being told.
That's what I always say, is that wrestling is a soap opera, and then people get mad at it for being a soap opera. Like, that's what it is. You don't watch Days of Our Lives and get mad because like Susie got brainwashed again or whatever. Like, it is what it is.
Do you guys remember like a year or two ago, they were doing a lot of these vignettes with the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits?
Yes.
And they weren't having wrestling matches. They were doing axe throwing and mini golf and all these other things. That's what I like. I don't want to see those guys wrestle. I'm not really interested unless they give me a good story, because they can get the guys over with me in terms of, I like these characters now. Like, they've built them up to the point where I respect these guys. I like them. I want to see them. But if you're not going to give me anything, to chew on with them, then I'm just going to kind of disengage until they do, and that's even why, like, the rating, I participate in that New York 50 thing, and it's like ranking your favorite 50 WWE wrestlers every year. But what I've come to realize now that I've done it for like 3 or 4 years is that the best superstars of the year is almost like not really all that subjective. It's based on who's getting the most TV time, who's accomplished the most on television, who's received the biggest reactions and the biggest spots.
It sounds like a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and I really do think that there's something to be said about the like you can't please everyone thing, and people will like it's become like a thing to screenshot this now when it happens, but it's very common to refresh your feed while a show is on and to see and wrestling Twitter very much has like clicks, and to see two people who are mutuals with one another, and one of them will say that sucks and one of them will say that's awesome, and the tweets will be right beside each other. And it goes back to like, it's never going to be like unanimously loved. And there's this, I like to think of wrestling, specifically like weekly television wrestling, because I think that's a completely different animal than like you're doing one show a month and it's, just wrestling like actual matches. Doing like, 2-3 hour weekly television show, 30% of it's going to be good. 70% of it's going to be like to bad. I think that's like when things are clicking. It's like you're hitting a 300 basically, and you're in the Hall of Fame. Like that's when weekly TV wrestling is good. And if you decide, you know what, I'm gonna focus on that 70% that I really don't like, which is, and to be fair, this started because of the people who cover wrestling. That's the 70% that they like to talk about.
Right.
That's all you see, and it's like, yeah, but what about that 30% that I heard so much about the zombies at this pay-per-view that apparently was really solid and had good matches on it. But all I could read about was the zombies. And it's like, bro, like what about the other stuff? Why are people not talking about that? And it's just because that's what's hot. And I don't want to, there's a dude who is like the grandfather of the wrestling media. And I always think about this because it pisses me off so much. And I shouldn't let it bother me, but it does. There was a match in 2002 with Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker, and they had a ladder match. And
Make
it was
yourself famous, kid.
Yes, it was like one of Jim Ross's best moments. It was a really cool moment where they were trying to make a new star, which is a phrase that people love. They need to make new stars. And it really did. It helped make Jeff Hardy an even bigger star than he already was. There was a guy, I almost said his name. There was a guy who has a newsletter, and his only take on that match was that it lost 1 million viewers.
Oh my God.
He didn't say
that's so lame of him.
He didn't say anything about like, oh man, like what a great match, what a great performance. You know, they've got something here with Jeff as a singles guy if they want him to do that. Because at the time, the Hardy Boys were still a thing. They hadn't broken up yet. During the show, there's little like backstage segments with Matt Hardy like pumping up Jeff because he's getting ready to have this big title match.
Right.
They're still a thing. So it's like, okay, cool. We got a guy here if we want to use him. And Jeff was like 25. Like, I mean, he was super young. It was a big moment, and that was the takeaway, was that they probably shouldn't have done that. It lost 1 million viewers. And I'm like, bro, like that's so like the worst way to, like, you can't have fun with this if that's how you're going to do it. Like it's not going to be. And there was another guy, and I'm shooting now, apparently. I done got hot. There was another dude who compared wrestling to Game of Thrones. And the point he was trying to make was that wrestling isn't a sport like UFC. It's a TV show like Game of Thrones. And I thought it was such a bad comparison, and it really hurt wrestling because wrestling isn't Game of Thrones. Wrestling is Scooby-Doo. It's not.
Now we're getting somewhere.
It's not as detailed and layered, and there's not as
Evan,
much.
I've told you privately that I think that comparison is inaccurate because Scooby-Doo, they always wrap up their stories by the end of the episode, and I don't think they've ever dropped the ball on that.
No, the lack of continuity errors in Scooby-Doo is impressive. But it's, you know, there's just this thing where people want wrestling to be this thing that it's not, and they're always pointing out the flaws, and it's an imperfect thing that is never going to be perfect because it's live, borderline improv with just so many moving parts and pieces, and you can appreciate it for being that and understand that it is going to be heavily flawed, or you can say, oh, I'm going to sit here and have fun picking apart these flaws.
Why can't they just go back to 4:3 aspect ratio and different sets and tone down the LEDs? That's all I want.
That's all you want.
4:3 aspect ratio back?
Yeah.
I would lose my mind if they did a show with the 4:3 aspect ratio.
Come on, get rid of this WWE HD crap.
I would lose my mind when they bring back the 4:8. Somebody will do that. Didn't the dude who just did the Snyder cut, isn't that in the 4:8?
Yeah.
See,
I think
he's gonna make that hot again, and me and Moulz will have our dream come true. Where WrestleMania, you can watch it in 4:8, 480p if you want.
Well, Cancelmania at PPW.
Yes, that'll be
God.
Cancelmania.
Problematica.
Yes. We'll do it 4:8. Not by choice either. It's just all we could afford to shoot it as.
I want them to bring back hurling insults at the fans. I didn't pop for anything more on this episode of SmackDown that we watched than the commercial for WWF SmackDown, the game, and the guy in like the classic, you know, like commercial guy voice was like, WWF SmackDown, rated T for teen, you jabroni. I'm like, oh my God.
You know?
Bring that back. Like, and it, like, wrestling fans love being insulted. They always have.
We have the audio, Mel. If you want to,
got the audio.
Run that.
I'm glad you brought that up, Caitlin, because we got the audio. It's a classic commercial. It came on during this like broadcast, and Moulz was telling me, he's like, the second it came on, it all just like flooded back to you, right?
I remembered every line.
Yeah, because it's a classic. Here's the audio.
Shine this up real nice, jabroni.
And I know just where to stick it, Ron.
What's your name?
Because that's what my name is.
The Rock smells what you're cooking.
Pancakes, Ron! Pancakes!
Lay the SmackDown in the kitchen, the loading dock, even the boiler room. Plus storylines and special guest referees. Everything inside the ring and almost anything out. WWF SmackDown. Rated T for teen, jabroni.
Finally, The Rock has come back to PlayStation.
Edge
Classic.
steering that
So
guy
good.
into the pool. Classic.
It wouldn't have been as good if The Rock had said like rated T for teen, jabroni. The fact that it was just the regular announcer
the voiceover
dude.
guy.
Yeah, rated T for teen, jabroni.
It's great. It's that attitude era, you know.
That's when they had the power to tell the announcer, like, "Yo, you're gonna say jabroni, okay?" Nowadays, they couldn't approach him and be like, "So we got this guy Drew McIntyre on our game cover. Would you mind saying like something like Big Daddy Claymore?" And the announcer is gonna look at them like, "I don't get paid enough to say Big Daddy Claymore."
Oh my God! Listen, I'm glad that I saw this so that I could remember how much I loved pancakes. Rock pancakes. It's an amazing line to me, and I'm glad I was able to be reintroduced to it.
I'll tell you what got me too was the UPN logo in the bottom right.
That is so classic.
What the fuck is the CW? Come on.
No, that's part of the culture jumping the shark. Okay, that's CW. I'm like, I don't know this. I know that UPN. All right, you know that UPN is what I grew up with. That was the good stuff. You know, there was so many like, you know, artifacts of that time period throughout this entire episode.
I got a bar for you though, Mel.
A bar?
I see W's while you PN.
What? That
I see W's, I see wins while you PN while you're peeing.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
You accidentally brought the R. Kelly stuff back, and I just
Oh no!
We're never gonna get rid of this.
I unequivocally disavow R. Kelly.
I've also attached my name to that statement. So.
Oh God. Yeah. Listen, folks. The episode. What is the actual episode that it's the March
23rd, 2000 episode of SmackDown.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they said it was 10 days before WrestleMania 2000. So, you know, if you're looking for it, that was the episode. But you got to watch the version. Where did you get that version from? Because that ain't no Peacock.
I was going to say.
Damn business, kid.
No, that's right off the Moulz cock.
That's right. Let them know.
Oh God!
You gotta know somebody.
I did introduce Evan to the other bird, the blue bird, as a matter of fact. And that could be a hint of how to find it.
Yes. No, you could definitely probably find it there. And we're not talking about the blue bird, aka Twitter.
No, that's that one. That one's bad. That's the bad bird.
No. Yeah.
Search within yourself and seek what you're finding.
Seek and you shall find. Search within your soul. You know, that's all I can really tell you. But yeah.
So guys, before we get out of here, do you have any plugs, any shout outs, any statements that you'd like to make for the world, for the Rap Rankings universe, for perhaps any of our wrestling pals that are listening at home?
DX rules, Triple H forever. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Time to play the game.
Sorry, I was hyped. Yeah, continue.
No, I was done. That was it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
When she says Triple H rules, that happens in her head every time. So
yeah, exactly.
the fact that it happened out loud was quite special for her. No, I don't have anything to say other than while it used to be better, you kind of got to love what you could get from today's wrestling. It's unfair. I
love your attitude towards this.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say, since you guys are apparently bashful, if you guys got wrestling fandom and you got $1 in your pocket, you got to go over to the Rumble Ramble Patreon and get on those Operation Monday Night Raw and Operation Monday Nitro.
That's right. Don't be a Rudy Poo candy ass. Go over there and subscribe. You know,
they're pretty good shows.
I enjoy them personally.
Yeah, we do what we can with those. We cover that glorious period that we're currently talking about.
The glorious Bobby Roode. He's a new guy that I like.
There you go. He's got some old school flair to him too.
Yeah, Bobby Roode. You don't like him, Kate?
I mean, like, I like his entrance.
I'd sign him. If I had my own Fed, I'd sign him.
I've just never heard someone say that they liked Bobby Roode. I don't... Sorry, Bobby.
He's a good guy. The name is deceiving. You think, oh, this guy's going to be a jackass or something. No, he's a great guy.
No, Bobby friendly, you know?
Yeah, his name should be Bobby
Nice.
Kind.
I'm loving it.
So thank you guys for joining us today, and just stick around a minute before everything so we get your audio. But we'll be addressing track 2 on this thing right after that record scratch. So Evan and Caitlin, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us. R.I.P. Goutrode.
God bless. Best of luck. Yeah, of course, R.I.P. Goutrode.
Yo, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all the other episodes, stop by raprankings.com or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform.